15 days into the election and new headaches for the Clinton campaign as we learn a central player in the FBI's investigation into her emails also had close ties to a longtime Clinton confidant. He happens to be the Virginia governor, Terry McAuliffe, who was co-chair of President Clinton's re-election campaign and actually ran her first presidential campaign as well. Well, as it turns out, Governor McAuliffe was also the man donating nearly $500,000 to the wife of the FBI official who wound up leading the Clinton email investigation. Judge Andrew Napolitano and Peter Schweitzer of Clinton Cash, of the Government Accountability Institute as well, are here on that. But first, we go to Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge. Catherine?
Well, Megan, campaign finance records show that the money accounts for more than a third of the campaign funding for a senior FBI executive's wife. Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe's wife, Dr. Jill McCabe, ran for the Virginia State Senate last year. And while she lost the race, she received $467,000 from McAuliffe's PAC and another $207,000 from Virginia's Democratic Party. McAuliffe personally met with Dr. McCabe and her husband in March 2015 to encourage a run. At that time, Andrew McCabe was the associate FBI director. 3 months after his wife lost, Andrew McCabe was promoted in February to deputy FBI director. In that position, the Bureau says he took on an oversight role for the first time in the Clinton email case. Critics emphasize these events, first reported by the Wall Street Journal and confirmed by Fox News, coupled with the controversial tarmac meeting between Attorney General Lynch and Bill Clinton in June, 1 week before Hillary Clinton's FBI interview, reflect poorly on the Justice Department and the FBI. Trump hit hard on the allegations today.
It's unbelievable how Hillary Clinton got away with the email lie, the email scam, the email corruption, but now at least we have a pretty good idea.
This FBI ethics manual says employees must avoid even the appearance of a conflict. McCabe did flag his wife's Senate race last year, and the Bureau did review it. Quote, McCabe and FBI lawyers implemented a system of recusal from all FBI investigative matters involving Virginia politics, a process followed for the remainder of her campaign. And during the campaign, he played no role. But a former senior FBI agent told Fox tonight the Bureau and McCabe did not do nearly enough to properly distance him from oversight conflicts, and their actions are not in keeping with the FBI motto of integrity, Megan.
Catherine, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, our next guest thinks he knows where this leak came from, and he's predicting we'll see plenty more like it over the next 15 days. Judge Andrew Napolitano is our Fox News senior judicial analyst. So where do you think the leak came from?
There are probably 100 FBI agents who worked on the investigation of Mrs. Clinton. Hardworking men and women in the field who gathered evidence and interviewed witnesses and shipped this data up to senior management like Mr. McCabe, and are furious at the decision not to prosecute her. They were denied the right tools, no grand jury, no subpoenas, no search warrants. They are the ones who are leaking information to undermine the decision not to prosecute, to demonstrate that it was not professionally made, that it was made for political reasons.
But what of the fact that this guy, McCabe, wasn't running the email investigation at the time his wife was running for office and got the donation from McAuliffe?
This is an issue about the appearance of impropriety. Now, the appearance of impropriety is where, to a layperson, it looks like it's fishy. It looks like something smells. How can this guy be the number 2 person in the Justice Department when the person providing the money to his wife is himself being investigated by the FBI? Governor Terry McAuliffe,
right? The FBI. And this guy's the second in charge at the FBI.
Right. And when he has an interest in that money going to his wife, and when he has an interest in seeing to it that Mrs. Clinton is not indicted, because that disrupts the financial stream to his wife.
It just seems like they're so, we always learn there's more to the story. Loretta Lynch goes on the airplane and talks with Bill Clinton. What were they talking about? And then just this week it came out, Judge, in the Podesta emails that were leaked through WikiLeaks.
Right.
That, you remember, the New York Times broke the story on March 2nd, 2015, that Hillary Clinton was using a private email to do all of her government business.
Right.
President Obama came out within days and was asked whether he knew. And here's what he said.
Mr. President, when did you first learn that Hillary Clinton used an email system outside the U.S. government for official business while she was Secretary of State?
At the same time, everybody else learned it through news reports.
News reports.
Well,
so 5 days earlier. The Podesta emails show that's completely untrue.
So here's another theory as to why Mrs. Clinton wasn't prosecuted. Because the first defense witness to be put on the stand would be the former president of the United States, Barack Obama. You knew this because you used it and you authorized it, because here's a couple of hundred emails from you going to her. That statement that he made to Bill Plant was a bald-faced lie, and we now know it, and we have documentary evidence of it.
It can't be true, because the Podesta email that came out 2 days after the New York Times broke the story is asking, should we hold back emails between Hillary and President Obama because of his executive privilege. This was at a time when Podesta was working for President Obama before he went over to work for Hillary. So clearly there were emails to that private email, and Podesta knew it. And several days later, Obama comes out and tries to tell us, I just learned about it.
Do you see how this crowd has degraded the FBI, has degraded the Justice Department, and has degraded the rule of law?
Well, they certainly haven't been fast and loose with the truth. I mean, forthcoming with the truth. They have been fast and loose. Judge, good to see you.
Likewise.
Again, you imagine if you tried to pull this nonsense with your boss, and we are their bosses. We also have new reporting tonight on a Justice Department tactic uncovered by my next guest. His new report says that when President Obama's DOJ, the same one we've been discussing, goes after financial institutions, big banks who are messing things up, the settlement they extract does not always go to the victims of the bank's behavior, where it's supposed to go, but instead that money often heads right to left-leaning nonprofits who help get Democrats elected. Joining me now, Peter Schweitzer, the president of the Government Accountability Institute and the author of Clinton Cash. Peter, good to see you. So just give us an example how this would go down.
Well, basically, you had a lot of activity by Wall Street firms, some of it which was certainly criminal in 2008, related to mortgage-backed securities, et cetera. The Department of Justice decides to take legal action against them, and the banks are obviously eager to settle. So they will settle, and part of that settlement will be that some of the funds may go to the victims of the crime you committed, but some of that money is actually going to go to pay restitution in the form of giving that money to nonprofit organizations. And these are nonprofit organizations that are overwhelmingly progressive and serve basically as an adjunct to the Democratic Party.
Well, that's the thing. So it's like, okay, maybe we're going to save the whales. We're going to clean up the oceans. People like that. But that's not what we're talking about.
No, we're not. I mean, to give you one example, one organization that's received millions of dollars is a group in New York called Asian Americans for Equality. I mean, sounds like a great idea, right? The problem is when you look into this organization, which got money from banks via the Department of Justice, this is an organization affiliated with the Communist Workers' Party.
Oh.
I didn't even know that Communist Workers' Party was around anymore. And in fact, the organization that received this money is sympathetic to the North Korean regime. I mean, how hard is it to find somebody that likes, the dictatorship there?
Why are the feds giving that group money?
It's a great question. I mean, a lot of it is sort of get out the vote, examples, efforts. In some cases, it's designed for voter registration. The problem is that when you look at the literature of these groups, what they mean by get out the vote or voter registration is progressive voters exclusively. And that's the problem.
So can this be stopped? I mean, you would think that money that these banks have to pay would go maybe we could use it towards the national debt. I don't know, something that everyone could agree we need to do.
No, I agree. I mean, look, I think if there are crimes committed by these banks and by these financial institutions, it ought to go to the victims, the people that were victimized.
That's a novel
Other than that, it ought to go to the... Yeah, exactly. Or it ought to go to something like the national debt. But to turn it into political activism, is absurd. And, it's something that I think requires a congressional investigation. And people at DOJ need to be held into account. As Judge Napolitano pointed out, and as you pointed out on your show, oftentimes the Department of Justice is supposed to enforce the laws, not break the laws and create their own rules. And that's clearly what this organization's been doing.
They're not supposed to be a political arm of the White House. That's for sure. Peter, good to see you.
Thank you, Megan.
You get all that? You get the general idea. I know you do.